Yeah, we'll see. We'll find out Friday night. I mean, we've followed the plan, so now there's a lot to be done though, really between now and the game. At the end of the day, tomorrow has to be a great work day. Friday has to be a great work day, and we'll get to the game. And one thing we try to teach the players is you prepare through the event. It's an old Al Golden saying that when I used to work for him. Like, people say the hay's in the barn. We don't believe that. As you get in the game, you see how they're playing, you try to adjust. So, we have a lot of work to do. But so far, the guys have worked hard. We'll see. Try to keep picking up steam heading into the game on Friday night.
Do you still do your normal hotel routine on Thursday night?
Yep. Yep. Tomorrow will be just like a Friday. It'll be just like a Friday.
You've been spreading the ball around well on offense. Do you like how guys have accepted that, and some games maybe they'll get it more?
Yeah, I think we've thrown a lot of drop back, and so when you throw drop back, it's progression 1, 2, 3. If you throw, you can get touches to guys by calling screens and things like that, which we do some of that. Hey, let's get the ball to this guy, get the ball to that guy. But last game we came out, we had a lot of tempo drop back, right? And Dylan's pretty good in that, right? So when you go to drop back passes, the ball finds the open receiver. They pressured us. He threw the hot swing route, right? They blitzed us. He threw the glance to Isaiah. So it's a good challenge to have only one ball, right? And if you want to be 50-50, that it's hard to get everyone the ball. I'm sure guys want to touch the ball more. But I thought the Whiteouts played really well last week. I thought they got open, and just if the ball came to them, it came. And then Dylan's not afraid to work his way all the way through the progressions. So he's hit the fifth progression a couple times, which is great to see.
You guys played a lot of players through 3 games. At what point does that load management become an advantage in games, or has it already done that?
Yeah, we've always tried to do it. It breeds development and confidence of that second group, so that they're more ready as the year goes on. As guys get banged up, other guys are ready to step in, and so now maybe your 3s become your 2s. So at least they've played. We've had 2 guys snap, we've had 2 guys kick. We take it all across the board, right? So I think that builds depth. We don't do it just to be nice, though. We do care about our players and want them to play. We do it to build depth, and also, this is the Big Ten's tough. It's physical. It's hard. It's cold. It's turf. It's it takes a load on you. It takes a load on you, and so this allows us to maybe take some hits off some guys early in the year. But this will be a 4-quarter war. This will be a 60-minute football game, and we'll have to count on our guys to go play.
On that subject, none of your backs had more than 6 carries. I know you had fewer plays total last week, but you envision wanting to see whether it's Dante or who it is get into a situation where there are double-digit carries regularly to develop a rhythm, or do you like where you're at with 3 or 4 guys?
Yeah, every game's different. Like last game, I didn't see the need to put a ton of carries on Dante with a short week coming up. I think that's. And I shouldn't say me, our staff did, and I think that's pretty high-level thinking by those guys, This game's different. As I've said, I'd like to have one guy like in the low 20s, one guy around 15. We're not running the quarterback, so, you're running some other guys, and then obviously we try to incorporate the receivers a little bit into the run game. But I think having one guy at that number, but, as the game plays, we're facing a team that's an elite run defense. They're also an elite pass defense. They're just an elite defense. So each game's a little different. We'll see what we need to do in each game to win.
You said at one point in the offseason, John Bullock could be one of the better linebackers in this league. What did you see developing in him and what he's shown you so far this year?
Yeah, John needed 2 things. He needed an opportunity first, and then he just needed confidence. So about halfway through the year, I thought he started to play with real confidence. When he made the decision to come back, I thought that was a big step for him to say, hey, I know I can do this at a high level. And, I think he's got 3 batted balls right now in the year. I mean, he's a guy that makes a lot of things right. And I think he's played really well, but he's big, he's fast, he's explosive, he's aggressive. When you have linebackers that run 4-5, you can play man, you can cover guys, you can play match and put him on the back. So John gives us all that flexibility.
How big have the new recruiting rules been? I mean, you were able to send some coaches out to Kansas City and St. Louis, Keith and Mosey last week. I mean, just to be able to have more flexibility to get guys out on the road in the season, how big is that?
I think it's great. I think it's better for the student athletes too. You can keep some guys here to coach them. You can send some guys out. Historically, a lot of schools have been benefited in recruiting by being in dense population areas, so that guys can get to the game. We've in 2 years here, I think we've done a great job of getting people to come to our games, and now with the new rules, getting some guys out. Whereas we don't want to ever affect preparation. But I went out. I won't go out on Friday night. I won't go out the night before a game because my job's the team. But on Thursday night, if I can, I'll go out. And so, we're not in this for the short term. We're in this for the long term. And so, recruiting is paramount. And those guys, Keith and Jamar are doing a fantastic job, both coaching and recruiting. And T Knight was out last week. Johnny Butler was out. John, I think Rob were out Friday night. So guys who don't have responsibilities at the hotel will go out.
Tony mentioned yesterday being excited to have Jamari and Mike Kai back at the start of the game because they help bring an edginess to the defense. Do you look for that on offense too, or is that more of a defensive mindset?
It's a defensive thing, yeah.
Okay.
Offense is different, right? And I'm more of a defensive coach. Even though I've coached on offense, I would bend more towards defense. Wherever you can fix problems with aggression and effort. Jamari is kind of like, they all have the roles of, GIF is kind of like the voice of the defense. Jamari always strikes me as like the heart and soul of the defense, Marquise is kind of like the conscience. He'll say whatever needs to be said, and they're all kind of have built like a brotherhood around each other. On offense, it's different because, your O-line is so different than like your wideouts. On defense, everyone's yelling at each other. Hey, run to the ball. Hey, let's get the ball out. On offense, you're kind of like, hey, everybody do their job. And so, Ben and Bryce do a great job with the O-line. And then, you have all these different playmakers and guys that go in. And that's really why having a quarterback who's not afraid to say things and not afraid to encourage guys is really important. I think we've done a good job of trying to empower that. We've tried to shut down that, hey, he's young narrative and say, no, you're the quarterback at Nebraska. That means something. And I think Dylan's done a good job of that. And then you have great teammates. You have Heinrich, who the players have joy for and love. You have Jamal Banks. You have all these guys that the players love seeing. Ramir, love seeing get out there. And so I think it's a different vibe on offense than it maybe is on defense. And that's historical, not just for our team.
Urban Meyer and Jerry DiNardo had a clip about how the crowd reacted when Heinrich had that sequence. Was that meaningful to you, just the appreciation that was shown there?
Well, I think historically, I know the crowd cheers a little bit more for the kids from Nebraska when they announce their names, which I'll be honest with, I think they're all our kids, so I root for them all. But I do think what Heinrich has done means something to me, right? And he's stuck around and not just accepted a role, but accelerated a role. I think even in the press conference today, I think we maybe minimized a little bit of what Heinrich did. Like, he went in the game in the red zone where we're trying to be a better red zone team and caught an option route. So it's not just like hey, it's a check down. I called it a check down to him and he said that, but he ran an option route, and that's a lot of trust in a close game or not an out of reach game. And that's 3rd and 2. He goes back in the backfield and takes a handoff and gets a first down, right? And then he plays quarterback the third play. I mean, that's a lot of versatility. And so, I didn't see the clip. Keith mentioned it to me this morning, and I respect Urban Meyer more than as a coach more than anyone, and Coach DiNardo more than anyone. It's great that he's getting that a little bit of love, but it adds a threat, it adds a dimension that people have to practice, and if they don't practice it, we have, and then it takes a playoff Dylan, it takes a playoff someone else. So kind of going back to the comment about the ball, I forget who asked. I'm sorry for whoever asked me that. Like, there's a lot of good players on offense. We have to get the ball to them, and so I think you asked me that, Brian. So like getting the ball to different people, and Heinrich fits right in there. Like, we want to get him the rock. It just can't be 20 plays, because you get the ball to this guy and that guy. And so it's a fun challenge, but a good challenge.
Matt, in your experiences, are these Friday games, they feel different? There's not college football on all day. And
Yeah.
It's a work day for most everybody.
Yeah, I haven't had a ton of Friday. I've had some Thursday games, and when I was at 10, but some Friday. I go back. Yeah, I've had some Friday games. It's just you have to just be a little less stir crazy. We've had a lot of night games, so the guys do a great job of coming over here. Like, we have an optional bus that comes over, and then we come over for walkthrough. Then an optional bus that goes back, so guys can come over longer, and a lot of them do it. One of the challenges on Saturday games is, as you're watching all these other games and maybe teams you're going to play or buddies you have, sometimes you can get emotionally invested in those games. And I always kind of, when we get to pregame, say, hey, none of the other games matter to us. Now start to really focus on our game. There's nothing much to focus on a Friday afternoon. So, we'll keep the same schedule. And so when they go back to the rooms, some of them will maybe sleep. Some of them will, watch, I don't know what they watch nowadays, YouTube or whatever, but some of them will do that, be on their phones. Hopefully they'll study their game plan a little bit and be ready to go. So it's a unique challenge, but it's a great opportunity to showcase the University of Nebraska nationally, a home game, our crowd, what I think is the best student section I've ever been a part of. So I want the world to see it, because I can tell you it matters in recruiting. I got recruits that's all. Even if they can't come to the games, I'm talking to guys in Hawaii, I'm talking to guys in Florida, and they're like, man, I saw you guys. That looks amazing. So it's another great opportunity for us.
What traits of Husker fans have you observed that would make 400 straight sellouts believable?
I think loyalty. I think just passion and loyalty. I think the loyalty is not just the sellouts. It's coming that early and staying late. And as I had one fan say to me at one of the events, he said, we come to support all the players. We come to support all the kids. And so we want to watch the guys warm up. And if, when we're ahead against UNI, we're going to stay to the end and watch all the guys play. And, that's really probably with UTEP. I remember coming out in the second half and, the game's probably pretty clearly in hand. I look up and I'm like, man, look at this crowd still here. It's just, it's unreal. And so that loyalty, that passion, as I said since day one, is something that, we feel humbled by, and we have to make sure we do our job. So, I feel it all the time. I feel like a tremendous, not a burden in a bad way, but a sense of responsibility to make sure that we're doing our part. And, one of the things I'm proud of about our staff is, if you ever listen to Coach Osborne when he talks about our staff, and he'll say it sometimes in terms of me, but he always says we work hard. And that's all I want. I'm not a guru. I'm not smarter than everybody else. Our coaches aren't maybe smarter than everybody else. Maybe there's smarter people out there saying that they should do this, they should do that. But we work hard. We work hard at recruiting. We work hard at football. We work hard at relationships. We work hard at being part of the campus and the part of the university setting, right? We work hard at being part of the athletic department. And I think if you can teach young people to work hard, you have a chance. And so that's what our fans are. People in Nebraska work hard. And so we've just tried to come here and have our work ethic match the work ethic of the state. And if you go back to, there was a time this year, a pivotal time when maybe people were a little bit unease, and I put out a video of, Paul Harvey doing The Farmer. That was the video, honestly, that called to me to come here. Like, I just kept listening to that over. And as I walked around the field last week before the game, I listened to that one more time, because we do what we do. I do it for the players first, but I do it for the fans and people second. I want them to be proud of what they see. We might not win every game, but we can certainly play in a way that respects and honors the work ethic of the people that came before us and the people that are in the stadium.
Hey, with Mazuka out, who's the number 2 right guard behind him?
Mazuka will be dressed and ready. He just won't start. He won't. He'll be out there. Yeah, Lutoski will play, and Michael would be available. I probably said that in the wrong way. He's dealing with some things right now. So, like I said, but he's making some real progress. So practiced good today. So he'll be there. And if we need him, we'll go to him. But like a lot of our guys, some guys are dealing with a foot, some guys are dealing with toe, some guys are dealing with things. Everyone's dealing with different things. So we just are at our best, trying to do our best to be there for everyone where they need us. But he's available.
There's still a possibility of rain. Did you guys practice very much, and what do you do to prepare for that?
Well, the great news is, the University of Nebraska, we get plenty of practice year-round in all the different weather elements, right? Like in the spring, we're out there in the mornings. If it's wet, we don't go inside. All that things that seem crazy to the guys like, Coach, why aren't we going inside? It's snowing out here. And I'm like, well, it'll pay off at some point. So kind of culturally year-round we do that. We did a lot of wet ball stuff this week. You'd be careful not to do too much because the ball gets heavy and weighs down the quarterback, but we do enough of it. And we'll play the same way, rain or shine. Really the wind's always a little bit more of a factor to me than, especially nowadays with turf, and it drains so fast. When it was grass, it was a little slippery. That was a little different. But we'll go out there. We'll go out there ready to play, and I think the weather might be later in the game, so that might affect some decisions. But I get a update on the weather like twice a day from not from like the app, but from the local weatherman. Does a great job for us. The winds, the wind direction, all that, because it affects the decisions I have to make. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.